Some stories just cut right through all the noise and show you what real impact looks like. This is definitely one of those stories. While a chunk of UK tabloids keep starting their day with the question, how can we turn a woman making toast into a constitutional crisis, the Sussex Squad is out here building children's playgrounds. Actual, tangible impact. Kids get safe spaces instead of having to dodge broken concrete and traffic, while London columnists lose their minds over jam jars and Instagram captions. Wild times. So let's get into it. The Sussex Squad is absolutely crushing it right now with this Kaboom fundraiser. And honestly, this is the kind of thing the British press would rather pretend doesn't exist. It blows up the version of Harry, Meghan, and their supporters that they've tried to sell for years. And it's almost funny. For ages, the press painted Sussex supporters as some unhinged, toxic online trolls, pounding their keyboards in dark rooms, fueled only by iced coffee and royal drama. Meanwhile, these same supporters are building playgrounds, funding charities, supporting women's education, helping veterans, backing community projects all over the world, and showing up every single year. The math just isn't adding up for the haters. Here's what nobody expected. Folks thought support for Harry and Meghan would evaporate as soon as they left the royal family. They genuinely believed people would move on and that the Sussexes would just disappear from relevance. But what really happened? The community got stronger, more global, more organized, more generous, and honestly, completely impossible to ignore. That's where people get uncomfortable. Because you can insult celebrities till you're blue in the face, write all the dramatic headlines you want, whip up endless outrage cycles. None of it matters when there's a community out there actually making a difference. Now, if you've never heard of Kaboom, it's a group all about building safe, accessible play spaces for kids and neighborhoods. And that goal alone sums up the energy behind this campaign perfectly. Children deserve safe places to play. Simple. Apparently a more groundbreaking concept than some royal commentators discovering therapy. The Sussex Squad got that right away. What I love is that this community actually does something. They don't just talk about compassion in a holiday speech next to gold curtains and priceless paintings, pretending austerity is some kind of morale boost. Sussex supporters show up, organize, raise real money, make campaigns, and keep pushing for something positive. It's all about action. It's why this movement's lasted. It's also wild how the media never gives these charity efforts the same buzz as they give to nonsense drama. If Meghan so much as breathes in the same room as a lemon tart, suddenly there are 16 think pieces about whether she's attacking royal tradition. But thousands raised for kids? Crickets. Tumbleweeds roll by. Somewhere, Piers Morgan probably gets a weird feeling he can't explain. There's no clearer example of selective coverage. And honestly, this is why the story doesn't get amplified. It messes with the cartoonish villain image some people want for Harry and Meghan supporters. You just can't call a fan base hateful and toxic while that same group funds scholarships, playgrounds, women's empowerment, and mental health programs. At some point, reality just breaks through, like Meghan strolling into an Invictus event looking flawless while tabloids implode. The longtime Sussex Squad already knows how this goes. It's not new. This group has always backed causes that matter to Harry and Meghan. Girls' education, community kitchens, supporting veterans, birthday drives, global donations, you name it. They've taken fandom culture and turned it into practical philanthropy, which, let's be real, is one of the healthiest things to ever happen in internet communities. Internet fan spaces can get weird, fast. One minute it's hair or fashion debates, the next someone's posting a conspiracy thread about candle placement. The internet is its own haunted house. We all get it. But the Sussex Squad keeps pulling the conversation back to real-world action, and that's worth noticing. Because these are regular people, Teachers, parents, students, retirees, professionals from everywhere, just connected by Harry and Meghan's story and values. Instead of just watching and scrolling, they built something. That actually matters. And I think a big part of why this community got so strong is because people related to Harry and Meghan's struggles. The human stuff, not the royal trappings. Actual people watched a couple deal with insane pressure, toxic media, racism, family drama, and online abuse. They saw them pick peace, boundaries, mental health, and a whole new path. That resonates, especially with younger generations, who are over institutions demanding loyalty but offering little emotional care. That's where the study support comes from. Not fairy tales, human connection. Of course, some critics can't handle any of this. Their heads basically explode every time Harry and Meghan are happy outside the system. The old script was Harry crawls back, miserable, clutching a sad teacup, apologizing for loving Meghan too much. Instead, he's doing Invictus, supporting mental health efforts, raising his kids in California sunshine, speaking at global events, running projects, and honestly looks way less stressed than he ever did back in the UK. Meghan, she survived the British tabloid machinery. Now she's making lifestyle content with glowing skin, while whatever she wears sells out by lunchtime. That deserves an award, honestly. And it's not like Sussex supporters are out here obsessed with their trauma or stuck in the past. They're backing a resilience. That's why these charity drives actually feel hopeful, not bitter. Action changes everything. You can dislike celebrities all you want, but when a community keeps making positive change, it gets harder and harder to write them off. It even sounds ridiculous to complain about it. I'm mad because people raised money for children's playgrounds in Harry and Meghan's honor. Congratulations, you're the villain in a Disney movie, defeated by basic human decency. And the irony? Harry and Meghan have always talked about community-driven work. Through Archwell projects and all the rest, they highlight grassroots organizations, women, families, and mental health. Local impact always gets the priority. It's no surprise their supporters channel that energy, too. Communities reflect their leaders. If a public figure shouts outrage, their fans get nasty. But when they focus on action and compassion, the fans do too. Usually, anyway. Humans are unpredictable. The point stands. What people underestimate is that the Sussex community is everywhere. The UK, US, Africa, Asia, Europe, the Caribbean, Australia, Canada, Latin America. Harry and Meghan look very different to the world outside the British media bubble. Sometimes Meghan gets seen as modernizing, sometimes as a victim of racism and media harassment. Sometimes people just love seeing Harry prioritize his wife and kids. Step outside the British press, and the story gets a lot less one-sided. Which is exactly why it drives some commentators up the wall. They lost control of the narrative. The internet handed people direct access to everything. Projects, interviews, speeches, donations. Press gatekeepers lost their lock. That is the real panic you hear underneath all the shouting. Because once you cut through the noise, people start realizing the tabloid version of Harry and Meghan was just a story, not reality. And that realization has gone worldwide. Something else happened, too. The constant attacks actually made Sussex supporters stronger. People got protective, angry, close-knit. Instead of falling apart, they got more energized and turned that energy into activism. That's actually fascinating culture-wise. Adversity makes better communities than easy popularity ever does. And let's not downplay the hostility. Endless headlines, double standards, dog whistles, daily outrage. Criticism for whatever they do. Share nothing or share a lot, they're always wrong. Even neutral observers eventually started to see how absurd it was. I think that's made the sympathy global. And if you look at playground fundraising, there's real symbolism there. Playgrounds are childhood, safety, community, joy, all themes Harry talks about. Trauma, grief, healing, protecting children. That makes sense. It's not a random charity pick. There's an emotional connection. Supporters pick up on that right away. And after all the never-ending royal drama, a story like this feels like a breath of fresh air. Because royal news online is exhausting most days. Another palace source, another expert, somebody overanalyzing an eyebrow at church. Civilization is teetering, and yet, is that coat beige as a sign of war? Meanwhile, real people need parks, schools, food, mental health help, community support. Impact matters more than endlessly staged ribbon cuttings. Younger folks especially want to see something real, not empty symbolism. Which is probably why Harry and Meghan keep such a strong, loyal following. They come across more relatable than the royal circus ever could. Are all Sussex fans angels? Of course not. This is the internet. Every group has some wild edges. But it's always been dishonest to judge an entire community by its loudest, weirdest members, especially when you see so much organized, positive effort. This Kaboom fundraiser is just more proof. Behind the hashtags and viral moments are people who want to build, not just bicker. And honestly, it's a little bit rebellious to turn being a fan into generosity. We live in a world that thrives on outrage. Algorithms love anger. Media loves scandal. Social media rewards humiliation. So when a community shrugs and chooses charity instead, that's pretty powerful. And maybe that's why these campaigns stick in people's minds. Because at the core of all the noise, the real draw is compassion surviving hostility. Harry picked family. Meghan took on cruelty and didn't break. The fans built something bigger than gossip. That's a story people want to connect with. And funny enough, every failed hit piece just glues the community even tighter. Because people aren't blind to bullying. Sure, critics will ask, why do fans do charity in the name of celebrities? Look, humans have always come together around symbolic figures, artists, athletes, faith leaders, social movements. The real question is, what do you do with that collective energy? If it sparks fundraising and good deeds, that's 1,000 times better than building communities out of hate. And somewhere right now, a columnist is fuming because this Kaboom campaign blows up their Sussex fan base's evil line they've spent years selling. Imagine waking up every day wishing for a downfall and getting playground donations instead. That's gotta sting. I think history is going to see the Harry and Meghan chapter very differently than the media did in the moment. Because once the outrage dies down, what lasts is bigger. Who helped? Who exploited? Who grew? Who kept people stuck? Who inspired good? Who made a business out of being mean? Those questions outlast headlines. Right now, the Sussex Squad and communities like it are building a legacy that runs deeper than just fandom. That's the point. Not just defending Harry and Meghan on Twitter, not just trending hashtags or viral clapbacks, really building something for others. Playgrounds for kids matter more than another panel debating candle etiquette or freaking out over Meghan breathing in public. That difference says it all. Because at the end of the day, a playground helps a kid. Community fundraising helps families. Positive action actually changes things for real people. No amount of media rage erases that. So absolute credit to the Sussex Squad. They're making a real difference. Not because they're loud or viral or even fiercely loyal to Harry and Meghan, but because support keeps getting converted into impact. And in a digital world built on cynicism, drama, and outrage, that's the kind of thing that's actually worth paying attention to. Kids get playgrounds. Communities win. People get inspired to join in. And somewhere in California, Harry and Meghan have to be smiling, seeing their fans pick kindness over chaos. Meanwhile, the usual suspects are stuck in the same old loops, still wondering, why won't these people just stop thriving? Guess they'll just have to keep wondering. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.